Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 29th episode of the Zicast. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Zayaks, and today I'm joined by the 7 Keys Office and Partnerships Administrator, Elizabeth Nguyen.
Hi.
And I'd like to shout out the GOAT, Richie Tobin, for technical directing once again.
Thank you, Ryan.
And
Thank you. Yeah, we had some like technical difficulties, and so dude, shout out to Richie for
of
getting that
course,
all solved for us. That was sick.
th- thank you, Richie. Yeah, and I think you know what the Zicast is, Liz, so how about we get into things and you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Elizabeth. I came from Arizona. I came over here for this job at Seven Equis, and I am the office and partners administrator. I started off as an admin assistant,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of like room to grow in this company. So I've kind of like worked my way up to working with Grace for like ad sales and partnerships and stuff.
Awesome, awesome. And what led you to finding 7 Keys?
Um, I was looking for a career pivot because I was studying family and human development. I was like working for nonprofits and really research in domestic violence. And I just felt like that was really heavy on the heart. And so I was looking into like digital marketing. I even took a class, and then I saw that Seven Equis had a boot camp. And I was like, why not? I want to do it. And it was like a week long. And that's where I got to meet Andres for the first time and literally the whole crew, like including Gilbert. So that's how I found Seven Equis. hmm
Awesome, awesome. And what excites you the most about working in podcasting and new media?
I would say the most exciting part, because I'm at the front desk, is just meeting, I guess being the first person to meet all the talent that comes in, like from like UFC refs to like that have been on Joe Rogan, like
Yeah.
Herb and like Trisha Paytas. Like it's so cool to meet them, and also just working with like businesses too that want to work with us, like Patreon or Snapchat, like being in actual meetings with them, it is so cool and it like blows my mind.
Also, so I like to ask you like
hmm
the fun of doing socials and how you like keep up with trends.
Honestly, I feel like you just have to let your brain rot a little bit. Like you have to let like the culture kind of go on your algorithm and see what's like funny and what's trending. And mine is like not the perfect one, so I go on my husband's
Hmm.
TikTok sometimes, and he sends me the funniest things. Like
Hmm.
he's kind of more like wacky, I guess, like
Yeah.
on that end. So whatever I think is really funny and kind of aligns with like The Office and also Seven Equis humor, I just take it and I try it out.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. Because the other interns, Nikki and Delaney and I, we've done a lot of really interesting, fun socials,
Yes,
and,
yes.
and it's a great way to like engage audiences and show like the fun side of our company here.
I think it's so cool to show like people behind the scenes.
Like to ask you like advice you have for people like post grad, since I know you graduated not too long ago,
hmm
like kind of finding stability in work life.
For finding stability in work life, especially, I think you should always just be in touch with a career coach from your college. Like I'm still
Mm,
in touch with mine. I check in with
mm,
her like every 6 months and stuff. Us like after school,
mm,
because I know you're a senior, you should always like kind of keep a progress like a check every 6 months. And I also just reach out to like college professors. I think just really connecting with a college professor and your career coach, just somebody who wants to see you win,
mm.
is a really great way to find stability because they have the connections already and they want to see you win. You need someone on your team, you know?
That's smart, smart. I remember you saying something in the past that like, kind of like with school, you should measure your progress every 6 months to see
Mm-hmm.
where things are. So
Yeah.
I think that's interesting to kind of keep the school mentality, so to speak,
Yes.
even long after you're not in school anymore.
I think they train you like that, you know, like without it, like how would you know how to manage your time? Like how would you know like when the seasons are supposed to be changing and you as a person should also know that you are progressing too, you know? So
Hmm.
I just try to, yes, every six
Yeah,
months check in with yourself for sure.
yeah, that's a great perspective to have because usually on here I have college students
Mhm.
or I have like people like professor age. So
Mhm.
it's great to kind of get like the sort of middle ground of that as someone who's graduated a few years ago and is
Mhm.
finding kind of like I said stability in the work life and kind of hearing that.
Yes, I'm literally still in the progress of being adult, like finding
Yeah,
out like what works and what doesn't.
yeah. Because like at least in my case, I'm told I'm an adult, but I don't always feel like it.
I'm 25, but I
Mm.
still feel 17 all the time. Like I still feel like a young girl, but a
Mm.
young girl who has to get her stuff together,
Yeah.
for sure.
Who's doing some big time stuff. So I also like to ask you, I know this is kind of loaded, but what are some things that people don't know about you, may not know about you? Like a fun
Um,
fact.
a fun fact, I have one that's kind of like more school related, and I have one that's kind of wild. But I think I'll share the school one. Um, Back before I studied like family and human development, I wanted to be a lawyer,
Mm.
and I was a part of my ASU's like law mock trial. And I think if you met me, I don't know if you would expect that, just because like I'm not a very argumentative person.
Mm.
And that's what I found out about myself. Like
Mm.
I wanted to practice law, and we literally went all around the nation. We went against schools like Princeton, and
Mm.
I found that in my nature, I just am not that argumentative.
Mm.
And they had me as like the closer and everything. And that was really cool. But at that moment in that club, I would definitely consider it definitely a lesson, but one of my biggest like failures in a way. Because I learned more about myself, but I also
Mm.
learned that, like, oh my God, I'm not good at everything.
Mm.
You know?
I mean, I don't consider it a failure if it taught you something
True,
about
yeah.
yourself, but I could kind of see you kind of have it going in the lawyer, like that kind of lawyer world, because it's very, at least from like an analytical perspective of like trying to figure something out. I feel like that's very applicable to what
Yeah.
you do now, like researching people and researching cases. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that I could very much see the synergy there.
Oh, okay. I guess, yeah, I liked that part, like looking at the case and finding out how to argue. But I just found that when I was up, I would freeze.
Mm.
I just didn't, I would forget everything in my mind. And I still had like, the stance and the confidence and the words. But when you're thinking, and I almost felt like performing too,
Mm.
oh, it was like very, very, very nerve wracking for
Yeah.
me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like I said, it kind of like putting yourself out there, it'll always teach you something, teach you great lessons. And
Yeah,
now you're
true.
doing something here which is more kind of in your wheelhouse, and
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't have known that probably if you didn't put yourself out there. But
Yeah.
that's very commendable in its own right.
True, true. Yeah, I do try to take it as a lesson, but when I look back at it, I'm like, oh my God, like, um, I guess it is a win, but I did see it for a very long time as like an L, like
Mm.
not my brightest moment. Like I was proud to be a part of the team and all that, but by the end of it, I was like, ah, wow, like I guess
Mm.
the lawyer's just not for me.
Mm.
Hmm.
And I feel like I mean, we're always encouraged to try everything. So
True.
it's definitely worth it. And your goal in the past was to be in a lawyer. I'd like
Hmm.
to ask you about your goals moving forwards, like your hopes and dreams professionally or in general.
Um, professionally, I have always wanted to continue my education. I'm still in that process of finding myself as an adult and like
Mm.
what I really truly want to do as a career. I love the partnerships, like aspects of it and the business. So maybe something in business admin, or maybe something else. Like I'm still figuring out myself as a person, but I have always wanted to pursue either my master's or my PhD. And I was supposed to, but I knew that it just wasn't the right choice at that moment. But it's something in my heart that I will still do. Like
Yeah.
it's one of my goals to still pursue a higher education. Um, and then generally,
Mm.
I want to have a family.
Aw.
Yeah, like I've always wanted
Mm.
to have a family. Like I've always wanted to have a daughter. So
Oh,
that's
that would
one of
be
my.
sweet.
Hmm.
Yeah. It kind of reminds you like athletes who go back to college sometimes later in their life and
Yes.
like get their degree. So like there's always time, the
Hmm.
time to find yourself and come back to school.
Of
And kind of
course.
like what we talked about with the self progress reports, you could kind of measure like, wow, I have found myself in my life, in my career, and now I'm going back to school. It could be
Hmm.
like a euphoric moment
Yes, I've
in a
always found
way.
that I've thrived in school. Like where have I gone and where have I ended up, and I'm still pursuing something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah,
Yeah. So.
that's incredible.
Hmm.
And now I'd like to ask you what I call the golden question. Like, what are some of your favorite movies?
Oh my God. So when I saw that that was one of the questions, I that was like one of the hardest questions for me. I always get asked that, especially here at Seven Ekis.
Yeah.
And so I probably did the most research about that about myself. And I have literally my five in order. It goes 17 again with Zac Efron. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
Love that movie. It's just
Mm,
like a silly movie about like love and friendships. I
mm,
would really check it out. I loved it. I remember seeing it when I was like 13 and being like, that is a good movie,
mhm.
you know? So take that with a grain of salt. My second one is Coco with,
Oh,
oh yeah,
yeah, I love
exactly.
Coco. Yeah.
Love Coco. I was like, I was literally sobbing, sobbing,
Mm,
sobbing by the end of it. And the third one, let's see, is I think, oh yeah, The Wind Rises. Have you seen that
I have
one?
not. No.
That one's really good. It's kind of like an animated Oppenheimer
Hmm.
because the main character is kind of like, oh my gosh, my passion, but my passion is used for something
Hmm.
like kind of horrible.
So very like moral dilemma.
Moral dilemma,
Yeah.
100%. It's like the beauty of the thing he does, but the horror of it as well.
Mm.
I also love Matilda.
Yeah.
Matilda's one of my favorites. I could have that playing all the time. And then the last one is Eternal Sunshine of the
Yeah.
Spotless Mind.
I love that one too.
That one's one of my faves. So yeah, that's my top five.
That's a cool list. I mean,
Mhm.
everyone's list says something about them,
Mhm.
and I always like hearing movies I haven't seen or haven't heard of because then it puts it on my watch list,
Yes.
and I go back and watch these. So that's something very cool.
Mhm. I would definitely recommend The Wind Rises. I think you would like it a lot.
That's cool.
It's pretty slow and has a
Mm.
really cute like love story, but I think I could see you really liking it.
Okay, I'll
Mhm.
keep it in mind,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that'd be really fun. And I just like to thank you for coming on, Liz.
Of
I
course.
know you're very much a behind the scenes person, but
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
like kind of getting the spotlight behind the scenes people when I'm doing this show. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Of course, dude. I am very honored and thankful that like you even asked me. I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my God, little me." Like that is so crazy. But also it's your like last day
It
here
is.
and I'm just honored to do it on your last day
Mm.
and I also want to like tell you like you have been absolutely killing it and I've
Thank you.
loved having you on the team and I love that this is like our last day together cuz
Yeah,
it's like, "Oh my God, like
very special.
yeah, very special." So,
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, and thank you for always being like the friendly face here.
Of
'Cause
course.
I have to admit, like when I was first coming here, I was very nervous just because it was so new.
Mhm.
I'd walk in and I'd see you and it'd like calm me down a little bit.
Oh my God,
So
yay. Oh, I'm so glad I could do that
yeah.
for you. I always want to put the like interns at
Mm.
ease because I want them to feel comfortable with like putting their foot in the door like career wise, you
Mm.
know? Not a lot of people do that and like I feel like it's very
Mm.
courageous to want to like step out and like be an intern.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you don't have to be an intern in college, but it's really,
Mm.
really good to find internship experience.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And over time, I really became part of the family here. I feel a
Yes.
part of the great community we have here. So that those nerves just completely evaporated over time.
I'm
That's
glad.
something I'm very thankful for.
Hmm.
And thank you again for coming on here.
Of course. Thank you for having me on the show.
Of course. And as always, this is Ryan Zayeks for the Zicast, where everyone has a story. Signing off. Thank you so much for watching.